Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. It's our big monthly meeting day, so got to take the first load over. Truck is packed, loaded. Come back, get another load. Big day, so if you've been to our meetings before, you know where they're at. Just come on out. We've got a lot of cool stuff to cover, a special guest, and then I'm speaking. So you need to just come on out, because it's going to be a good day. Big potluck. If you can bring something, that's great. If you can't, don't worry about it. Speaking of that, yesterday I received an email from one of you. It was one of the most touching emails that I've ever received from a listener, talking about how they were just amazed at the work that I'm doing locally and how it's spreading and encouraging people. And I mean, I'm not a crying kind of guy, but it came close. Almost got a little misty-eyed. And for you that sent that, you know who you are. Thank you. That really touched my life. What's interesting with people, though, is I also received another email yesterday, and extremely harsh criticisms of how they don't care. Nobody cares. My listeners don't care about me talking about the stuff that we're doing locally. They don't care. They just stick with the news. They don't care if my computer's not working, which it is. It's not working. It's toast. I think the power supply fried on it. I'm gonna hope to get that fixed this week so I can get back on my live stream schedule. He even said he didn't care that my wife's sick and all this stuff. She needs to be on there with me. That's just ridiculous. That no one cares about all of this local stuff that you're doing and how busy you are. You need to prioritize and make YouTube your priority. That's what I heard. Well, YouTube is a priority, but I also think it's good to encourage. I don't know why my camera seems to be really blurry. I apologize for that. I don't know. It looks blurry on my screen. If it is, I apologize. I can't fix everything, folks. I think it's good to encourage others. You know, there's so much negativity. I am getting to a point with some news and stuff, but there's so much negativity in the world. It's so much doom and gloom, and we need to see some positive things. We need encouragement. People need direction. You know, instead of just constantly online and just absorbing all of the bad stuff. I mean, it's good to know what's going on. It's good to, kind of keep track of things so that you know how much longer we have before it all comes to an end. That makes sense, but getting to the point to where it's all we do. You know, we're not actually doing anything. We're just watching stuff happen and then, complaining and saying, yeah, we got to get ready, when we're not actually doing anything. That's a big problem. And, part of what I'm doing is encouraging people and hopefully an inspiration to get out there. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Just get out there and do something. Get out there and keep yourself busy, physically preparing, getting out in the world and preparing other people, building, community with other people, relationships and stuff. Because in the end, it's not going to matter how much Fox News, CNN, or even the Prepared Homestead that you've watched. In the end, it's going to matter how much you've done to actually prepare. And so, I think it's great. So, for the folks out there that completely disagree, well, it's a free world, free planet for the most part. I mean, it's this, it's a simulation, of freedom. You can think what you want, but I'm going to keep doing what I do. And yes, making all sorts of different videos, including stuff talking about what we're doing here and encouraging you to do something yourself. Well, the thing with Texas, I know I'm in the minority, I think, of the YouTube listeners. I've read some, not all, some of the comments, and 100% 100%. Yes, I stand with Texas on this. I stand with the people on this. I stand with securing the border. I stand all that kind of stuff. I 100% do. I'm not saying not to. I'm not saying that no one should do anything. But I'm also much more convinced now than from day one, because when this first started, I was saying this, that this is a setup, folks. That it's a setup, and I believe it's a setup from both sides. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's just like the Biden administration and the left trying to set the. It's both parties. I think are probably involved in this. You have to realize that, the vast majority of the Republican establishment, the leadership, the people that run the show, they don't like folks like you and I either. It's not like they're, out there fighting for us. Please. I think it's all a show. Did you see that video? Goodness, it sounded like Joe Biden. Did you see that video floating around? This guy goes down to Eagle Pass, and he drives past the area that's that's being contended, and the border fence there, gate after gate, is open. Some places there's no gates. But it's interesting that it's all happening there. There's like 1,250 some miles of border between Texas and Mexico. And this area that's being contended and all this kind of stuff is about a half a mile. It's about half a mile. It's interesting that no one's really worrying about the other 1,253 and a half miles, right? It's just this half a mile. And I know this may be an easier place to cross, but there's other places that are also. And what's interesting is not just that both the federals and the state are fighting over this. It's interesting that right in that area, it's where most of the illegals are being funneled in through. They're not going to all these other places along the border fence that are wide open, that are just a half mile, 2 miles down the road. I mean, if they've walked supposedly hundreds or thousands of miles, another mile or two is not going to hurt them. But for some reason, they're all coming there, and there's this buildup. The people on the ground, the players, the National Guard, the Border Patrol, they probably don't realize they're being played too. I don't necessarily think that they're the bad guys at all. Mostly it's the higher ups that's pulling the string. Everything about it smells of false flag and a trap. It's a trap. I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, I'll own it. I'll own it if I'm wrong. But I was one of the very first that came out and said something like this. And now in the last couple of days, there's more information and there's more people coming out saying, yeah, I think that this is a setup. I think this is a false flag being created. So be watching that, folks. I'm not saying don't do anything. I'm not saying sit at home and just blah, blah, blah. I'm saying be cautious. I could easily see lots of home visits after this goes over by, federal agencies because you made certain comments online, all kinds of stuff. I could be wrong, but remember, the last few weeks, the Biden administration has been just beating it up about the January 6th. Every time Joe Biden speaks, that's what he talks about. And then, poof, this happens out of nowhere. It just kind of, out of nowhere happened. And so makes you wonder how many strings are being pulled to cause this to happen. Who knows? But I would at the very least, use some caution, because it smells like a trap, folks. Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of JP Morgan, said yesterday that the U.S. economy is falling off a cliff, that it's on the verge of falling off a cliff due to the unstable amount of debt. It's absolutely absurd. We're going into debt on an average, up until the first of the year, we were going into debt on an average of $1 trillion a quarter. $1 trillion a quarter. They expect that rate, that pace to increase this year, that we could see easily $5 trillion in debt this year. I can remember when there was $5 trillion in debt total, or less than that. And that had been built up over, a couple hundred years, or many decades. And and now we're doing it, you know, every 2 or 3 months, $1 trillion. That's insane. There's a lot going on, and I know that everyone's very focused on Texas, and there's nothing wrong with that. But remember, I think that there's a whole lot other things that are happening that's all also equally part of the puzzle. And I think that everything that's happening just reinforces the opinion I've had for a long, long time, is that it's getting close, folks. It's getting close. It may not be days or even weeks, but it's certainly getting close, and we need to be preparing ourselves for that very actively. You know, you want to go to Texas or whatever, that's your business. I would be very cautious about it, but also remember that there's already millions and millions of illegals in this country all over the place. So the fight isn't just at the border, it's all over. It's in your own backyard. And you know, don't leave yourself vulnerable, because if things actually do happen down there and start to pop off, we could start seeing sleeper cells activated, all kinds of stuff like that all over the United States. And if you left your family and your home vulnerable, it's something to think about. I'm not discouraging it. I just want you to think about it. A lot of times people emotionally react and they don't think it through of what is the best, course of action. And so I just want you to think about that. Yes, I know I'm off to a community meeting that some of you just surprisingly don't want to hear about, but it's going to be a good one today, and got some exciting things. I even have a really cool presentation that I've never done before for you folks here at the local homestead. And no, I can't record it because my computer, it's cooked. I've got a little laptop, but it's not powerful enough to run everything, including the camera and all that. I got to come up with something different. I mean, I know what I need, but it's expensive, so I work with what I have. Need to be getting your houses in order, folks. This road is really, really rutted right now with all the rain and the ice we've had. But anyways, you need to get your houses in order. Very, very seriously. This is not a time to be armchair quarterbacking, talking big about stuff and yet not doing it. It's happening as we speak. You need to be preparing mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.